Well, I think what comes to mind, Jeremy, on a very practical level, is that the MyCube tool has been very, very meaningful in the sense that I took what we'd covered in the course, actually went home, started to think about it, started to engage with it, and then actually applied it to something that I'd really been struggling with, and that was my smoking. And so it's been very valuable in that I took the cube and began to ask myself some questions related to my smoking, the addictive pattern, why do I bolt to smoking, what am I valuing, all those kinds of questions. So that's why I've been able to use it on a very practical level.
And so I take it you stopped smoking?
So I have happy to say I stopped smoking.
Okay. So you can say, I value not smoking or whatever.
Yes. There was a time where I had to acknowledge that I was valuing smoking.
Excellent,
as much as I didn't want to smoke, I had to acknowledge that was what I was valuing. And I think when I could acknowledge and see that was what I was valuing, that was the beginning of starting to ask some serious questions. Because I didn't want to value smoking.
But when we look at a negative association of value, so many people, get uncomfortable.
Yes. And I have to say that's exactly how I felt. Because for most of my life, whenever I thought of valuing something, it was the positive aspect. Whether it's I value exercise, I value my family, I value my spiritual life. So there was no ways that I wanted to acknowledge that I valued smoking. But I think what was for the epiphany for me was coming to understand that what I do is what I value. So once I could begin to look at the fact that I smoke, therefore I do, therefore that is what I value, held that and then thought, okay, I can begin to work with this now. So it was actually a total, it was a paradigm shift for me, a huge paradigm shift.
So you saw in a new way, in a sense, because you were able to hold that negative value, let's call it a negative value in some ways, and it wasn't, and you realize that by holding it, that's where the opportunity for change, so often what happens is we make enemies out of things, and then when we make an enemy out of it, it's over there, and we don't bring it close here and own it, and then we can't work with it.
Sort of kind of wanting to run from it, but once I could just begin to, as you say, hold it, look at it, and then embrace it and say, right, where is it, where can I move from here, and begin to shift from there. What I did was, once I acknowledged the fact that I was valuing smoking, was to say to myself, okay, well, why am I valuing it? That's important to begin to understand it, because to stop smoking, it's not about the willpower required. It's about understanding why you are smoking and what you are running from, or what there's a lack of, as you say, and then begin to ask those questions. And then realizing the myths behind it all. I used to tell myself that I smoked because it relaxed me, I was nurturing myself in terms of giving myself quiet time, it calmed me down, it gave me time out. But the reality was...
Sounds like lots of cheating.
A lot of cheating. A lot of cheating going on. The reality was is that my pulse rate doubles when I have a cigarette. I feel anxious after having a cigarette. It doesn't... So it was acknowledging those things, that those were myths, and there was a whole lot of lies and cheating that I was doing with myself. And then it was about, okay, well, what can I let go of?